Hi, everyone listening and watching to Football-Oranje's preview of the Netherlands versus Norway, a friendly to get us warmed up for the World Cup. 2 games in the space of a week. Norway first, Ecuador next. If you have been craving a bit of YouTube coverage for a while from Football-Oranje, we've had a bit of a rest. We've been away a little bit. We have been putting our Eredivisie shows up on our audio-only podcast platforms, but we are back because things are happening. A World Cup is around the corner, and we are coming out of the ashes, and we're ready for another tournament. I'm Michael, and Mike is here. How are you, Mike?
Yeah, all good, all good. Glad to have some Netherlands games coming up, especially as a Newcastle fan who's a bit wary with football at the moment. Good to have some Netherlands games to hopefully cheer me up.
And in terms of the Eredivisie, most things are wrapped up in the league. There's some very exciting moments still to go in the division. But at the moment, we're kind of waiting for PSV to be announced as the title winners, and race European football is certainly looking good. And AZ are still in the Conference League. But anyway, we're on international duty now. We've been called up to talk about the Netherlands, and a couple of announcements for like this sort of Norwegian squad that the Netherlands are going to play. The Netherlands need a test. We need to get ready for the World Cup. And for once, I don't think I'm the only one to say that I'm a bit disappointed that Haaland won't play on Friday, nor will Ødegaard, Norway's 2 best players without a doubt. Still got some decent players there, but we want to be testing ourselves and testing the squad to see what it can bring. Bit of a miss, isn't it, really? Strange to say that.
Yeah, you obviously want to test yourself these 2 games against the best players, but you could say that Netherlands are also missing their best midfielder in Frenkie de Jong and their starting striker in Memphis. So, yeah, it's going to be both sides are not going to have their full strength 11s out. Norway still have some decent players. They'll give us a good game. But it's one that you feel if Norway don't have the best 2 players, then Netherlands should be winning pretty comfortably. But yeah, it's more about seeing what Koeman does tactically now that Memphis isn't there. Doesn't mean that Robbie is going to be starting up front. What does he do with the midfield? What does Keith Smith bring? Is he a starter in the 10 position, or is he just brought off on the bench? So yeah, I think there's a lot of questions around the squad he's picked, and I'm interested to see what variations he goes with.
Yeah, well, let's dig into it, shall we? As always, if you enjoy our shows, do give them a like, share where you can on our platforms. We're on YouTube, so give us a like on YouTube. And like always, get involved in the comments. We've missed you guys and haven't interacted with you in a little while over on YouTube. So what do you think ahead of this game with the squad selection, World Cup coming up? Less than 100 days to go now, Mike. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can now see a clip of the Football-Oranje article that Mike typed up. This is the squad for the games. And Mike said already a couple of changes. I mean, Memphis won't be featuring. Some talking points there with the striker options, which we'll get into, Mike. In defence as well, we've got De Vrij in there. Is that an issue? We'll get into that shortly. I suspect we'll see K-Smith come on for one of those 2 games coming up. We're excited to see him come off the bench. Big fan of him. Do think it can be a bit overblown, maybe, K-Smith now. I think we on Football-Oranje, we've got like a good sort of balance of he's a talent, but he's not like a world beater yet. But I think it'd be good to talk about Smith in this show, and mostly the same names other than that. Where do you want to start, Mike? Which positions? What kind of talking points have you picked up from Koeman's press conferences?
Well, it's the main thing I got from the press conference is that, absentees aside, the main ones like Frenkie and Memphis, I think Koeman's pretty set on his squad. I think he basically outlined that other than these players and the ones that, the big names that are missing, there's not really any other options he's going for. Right? There's no one else that he has in his mind. Like he was asked about, Joey Veerman for the midfield. They said, he's not even like first choice, second choice for the left centre midfield position. So he's not really in the running. So I think he can have a free holiday this summer. He's not going to get picked unless there's 5 or 6 injuries between now and in the summer, which we hope there won't be.
Well, that's why he featured last time, wasn't it? Because of that same situation.
Yeah. And, that was one of the main talking points, basically him saying, no Veerman, which, PSG fans kind of don't really understand. But I think most of us...
He's good for PSV, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's probably about it. He suits the system there.
his ceiling at the moment seems to be Eredivisie. That's why he's still there. You know, if his ceiling was, you know, a great World Cup player, you know, he would have been snapped up by some of the big clubs by now, but he hasn't been. So midfield wise, we're looking at these players, and I think Keith Smith, I think he has actually a really, really good chance of making the World Cup squad. I think Koeman really likes him, and
I agree.
Unless he just has a nightmare this week, then I think he'll be in the squad. I think he gives him another option at 10 position, which we don't really know what the strongest option is at the moment. You know, you've had Reinders there, you have Justin Cliver there, who seems to be out World Cup, you know, for injury. Then you have.
Do you think Reinders can still be played there?
It's between Reinders, Simmons, and Smith for me at the moment. Okay. I think.
Valenta is the 10 as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
But realistically, coming to the World Cup, not going to get many minutes.
Yeah, like start of the season, Valenta would be up there, but Valenta that we've seen since the past few months is kind of not what we want to see. He's still in the squad, but I don't think even he would admit that he's been playing well recently, especially since Feyenoord have been playing well. But I'd say the same about Smith. I think he's very hot and cold. You know, he's had injuries recently, but if you look at his, you know, his league stats, he's only got, I think, 2 assists in the Eredivisie. So, I mean, he's not that creative powerhouse that maybe the media abroad would have you believe when he's getting linked to, you know, to Barcelona's, Real Madrid's, you know, these big clubs. Everyone's thinking, oh, this guy is going to be absolutely unreal. He's really, really good, but
young and inconsistent, I think.
Yeah, but the numbers aren't there at the moment to suggest that he can handle that step up. So what he does this week with better players will showcase whether he is ready. You know, AZ not had the best season this year, but I don't even think he's been the best AZ player this season. So yeah, whether that's justified, we'll see. But he is a talent, and the same said about, you know, the likes of Stur at Ajax, who, you know, still at under 19. So there's a couple of good midfielders coming through, but Smith seems to be the golden boy at the moment who has Koeman's eye, which is strange because, you know, I don't think Koeman watches a lot of football, judging by some of his comments. So at least one player has seemed to have got in there for that.
What other talking points can we pick out then at the moment? Whilst we've got this on screen, I want to talk about Brian Brobby. With Memphis out, does Brobby lead the line in the Norway game or Ecuador game? My gut feeling is that maybe he leads the line in one of the games and maybe Weghorst the other. But I can't be the only one that's thinking surely Weghorst has to be taken out of the squad completely now, put in somebody else. But because of history, because of the impact I have as a sub, and maybe because what Koeman was saying with character, that's why he's in the squad at the moment. Mike, you posted about this on Football-Oranje's social media. Can you tell us what Koeman had to say about when Memphis pulled out? With a bit of a lack of striker option, shall we say?
Yeah, so he was asked, you know, if Memphis Depay can't make it, which eventually he couldn't, who is he going to call up a replacement? And then he turned around and went, well, I wouldn't know who. So, yeah, I mean,
just no Dutch strikers, it just don't exist apparently.
Yeah, so like he's not even willing to even take a look at some of them. You know, like Meerdink before his injury. Now, no, I'm not trying to say that Meerdink has been in any good form whatsoever.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, it's not even like good. Name drop him or anything.
But he got in the squad before.
Yeah.
So if he got in the squad before he got injured, why does Koeman not want to have a look at him now? You got Jan Fleming. I know Abdul, who is usually on the show, he's off tonight, is a big fan of him.
Yeah.
He's scoring goals in the Premier League.
Hasn't he scored the most goals out of any Dutch striker in the top 5 leagues? Am I getting that right or wrong? He's definitely up there, if not.
Yeah, I think he is definitely up there.
And he's not on many. I don't think he's hit double figures.
Yeah. So, but I think the criticism I've seen of him is that he scores a lot of penalties and a lot of tap-ins.
Yeah.
So, but he is that big, burly centre forward that, you know, if Weghorst wasn't there, he'd be the closest one you could probably have. Another option obviously is Omega, but Omega's injured, and
so disappointing now, isn't it? This could have been his opportunity.
Yeah. And he seems to be like, it seems to just be every single time he comes closer to getting back, he seems to have another setback.
Yeah.
So for me at the moment, I don't think he's going to have enough time between now and the end of the season to get back, get fit, and then impress enough to get in the squad. So I do think the strikers that are going to go into the World Cup are Memphis, Weghorst, and Brobbey. Now, the silver lining is the fact that Brobbey's been playing well in the Premier League.
He has to be fair to him. We said, didn't we, that it's not going to go well for him in the Prem, and maybe he'll struggle to score goals. He is still struggling to. He doesn't score many. How many is he on? 6 this season.
Yeah,
It's not prolific, but,
no, but
he's made a name for himself in the Premier League because of his strength, which we thought he might be able to do.
Yeah, and at the weekend against my Newcastle, of course, he absolutely bullied Sven Botman and Dan Burn, and Dan Burn's in the England squad. So he got a winning goal in the 90th minute as well. So I think if he shows that sort of form for the Netherlands, he was holding the ball up very, very well, and he was allowing runners in behind him. So if he can do that, set off runners, then he does have a place in this Netherlands side, because it is something that we need, this ball retention up top to get others in place. So
there are those players that can definitely play around Brobbey in that squad that can feed off it. I'd love to see it. I think I'd really like to see him given a full match in these 2 games, hopefully against Norway, see what he can do. This is his chance.
The other option is the one that Koeman dismissed before, is Daniel Malen up through the middle, because he's been doing it for AS Roma. He's been scoring a lot of goals. He's getting rave reviews in Italy. But Koeman said last
haven't talked about him because I don't think Koeman wants to play him as a striker.
No.
I think he wants to play him as a winger. Otherwise, I'd be making the case again. I did in the autumn, didn't I, when he played for Villa? I was saying he's a striker now. Let's really hedge our bets on him. And he's gone to Roma and still score goals. Good for him. But yeah, do you agree with that? I don't think he's seeing him as a number 9.
No, he's not. He said it before, I think. I can't remember when he said it, but I think he's on an ESPN morning show, and he said that he's not an option for the number 9 position, which seems mad when you've got, of all the strikers, he seems to be the most informed one.
Yeah.
And he's not even getting a shoe-in, whereas, Wout Weghorst seems to be undroppable, even though he's absolutely horrific for Ajax at the moment. So yeah, I think it's a shame. I'd like to see it in one of these 2 games. So maybe if he starts the Brobbey against Norway, moves Malen through the middle just to see it. The annoying thing as well, I think we would have seen Somerville if he wasn't injured. He got injured at the worst possible time. So
isn't Noah Lang injured as well? So that's another winger gone.
So he'll miss the first game. He's still in the squad. He's not going to play the first game, but he could be in contention for Ecuador, depending on whether his finger heals in time. He was getting, I think, interviewed by a Dutch press today, going on about how he can't play his PlayStation. He's really annoyed about it. So, I think he'll be available for the second one. But I think, against Norway, it's going to be Gakpo on the left, Brobbey or Weghorst in the middle, and you've got a choice of Malen, Frimpong, or Simmons on the right-hand wing. But, I think if you said to me a month ago, who are you most excited to see against Norway, I would have said Somerville. And sadly, we're not going to get that. But Koeman did say he is still a very, very big option for the World Cup because he really likes him. So he might be there given then. But Noah Lang's been in decent form for Galatasaray. And then when you got Frimpong...
Is it Somerville or Lang, or is it both?
I can't see him picking both. I think it's one or the other. And I don't know. I don't think we've seen enough from Lang in an Netherlands shirt to say he deserves it. So I think the pace and goal scoring of Somerville, for me, makes him a stronger option. But we need to see what happens when he comes back from his injury and how he spends the rest of the season with West Ham, and see if he maintains this form, keeps West Ham up, then I think he goes to World Cup.
Interesting. One more talking point from the squad selection before we get into a bit more about the game itself. Stefan de Vrij still being selected for the team. There was a time where our centre-back options were plentiful. I can't name, though, like a real glimmering option in place of de Vrij. Mind you, does it matter anyway? Because does de Vrij even start nowadays? Talk to us through the centre-back options, Mike. Who are the main 2 that you're going to see play probably at the World Cup and also in these friendlies? And tell me about who those other centre-back options are that are going to be filled in after. And who are we missing out completely?
Yeah, so the main, obviously, Virgil van Dijk's the main one. So it's who's going to partner Van Dijk. And you've got a choice of Van Hecke, who's done well when he's been in there. You've got Mickey van de Ven, who is also a left-back option.
Level.
Nathan Ake, who was excellent at the weekend against Arsenal when Manchester City won the League Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Jurrien Timber, who I think misses these games for injury, so he can play in the centre back or right back. And then the one that's been called up to the squad, who can also play centre back, is Geertruida, who I don't think any of us want to see play centre back, but he is another option. I do think De Vrij then pops in at 4th, 5th choice, but he seems to be, for Koeman, as he said at his press conference, he's more looking at characters instead of playing minutes, which is different from what he said before, which was you have to play to get in the squad. So I think that De Vrij is bringing leadership, which maybe, given a chance to Bukema, wouldn't be. You've got other ones that are coming through that are options for the future, such as the Vandenberg brothers. You've got Botman, who's fractured his chin, so he's out for a while. And then you've got the real youngsters, the Boumans of Ajax, the Janssens, who's doing pretty well on loan at Groningen, who are in the under-21 squad. So I don't think any of them are ready yet. So De Vrij shouldn't be there if you went by playing minutes, but I think just in this expanded squad, that's not the final World Cup squad. He's not taking up a spot as somebody that's going to the World Cup. He's just in a squad at the moment. But when it comes down to the World Cup, if he's still in there and he leaves, say, a Van Hecke or a
Van de Ven
at home, then you say it's outrageous. But right now, when he's picking out an expanded squad just to have a training session, then I think it's fine.
Yeah. And a useful backup if you think that you could come on for the last 10 minutes of a game when you need to put a fifth defender on. He might be someone that's really useful. Okay. In terms of starting lineup then, against Norway, just with the options we have, what will we see from Koeman? And as always, what would you like to see, Mike? Because we know that there can be two different, very, very different things at times.
Yeah, I think we all would have liked to see Robin Roofs in goal. I think that's a shame that we're not going to see that.
Yeah, we need to see it. But
Verbruggen, we've said it all along on Football-Oranje, we want to see Roofs, but Verbruggen's never done anything wrong in everyone's shirt. He's never dropped a clanger. He's never letting one that you're going, oh, you really should have saved that. So I think you keep with him. I don't think Verbruggen and Roofs would be, for me, the top two options. Flecken would be third choice if you have to, and then Bio's just in there because you need another one. He's doing okay at Genoa. So I think Verbruggen, for me, should start both of these games because I think consistency is key with whatever defenses are in front of him. So just keep him in. I think against Norway, we're probably going to see back four of Dumfries, Van Dijk, Van Hecke, and Van de Ven left back. Then midfield, I think it'll be Reinders, Ravenberg. Then hopefully for me, I'd see Smith start against Norway. Then left wing Gakpo, through the middle Robbie. Then on the right hand side, Frimpong would be for me the options. Then in the second half, depending on how the game's going, if we need a goal, bring on Mallon through the middle, change it that way. So I think that's for me what would be my choice.
Yeah, I always like to see Frimpong play. That would be my choice. Want to see him get some minutes. I definitely see Bobby given a chance. I agree. Smith from the start would be fantastic. I don't see it. Maybe someone comes in there. But it is exciting times still for the Netherlands. We're getting to that point where the World Cup's around the corner and people might start thinking about who could win the thing, who the favourites. For me, anyway, and maybe for lots of the listeners, the Netherlands aren't a favourite, but we always dream of it happening, and we would love to see it happen. Of course, football's football. The Netherlands can win this World Cup. How do you feel at the moment with less than 100 days now until the tournament kicks off? Do the Netherlands have a genuine chance, or yeah? I feel like I'm asking a question because people are now considering this, who could win this, or even asking us, tell us about the Netherlands at the World Cup. And you can be really positive about all those midfield options, for example, some strong defenders, but then it's like the goals don't seem to be there, but you still got 2 Liverpool players in the front line. Like, it's not exactly weak, but we're not known for goal scoring.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know if you've seen this meme, but it's like the meme is like the horse, which is perfectly drawn from the back, and then it gets to the front, and it's like a cartoon kid's drawing of like the face. That's Netherlands. So it's like perfect up until you get up front, and then you're just like, oh my god, what have we got? And for me, that's the worry, because I've seen Liverpool fans really unhappy with Gakpo at the moment, saying he's been playing terribly. But I know he always turns it on for Netherlands at a tournament, so hopefully we get that again. But we can't keep relying on him. You know, the past few tournaments we relied on him to get the goals. We need a goal scorer to come from somewhere, and you just don't know where it's going to come. I know Frimpong doesn't seem like he's not a goal scorer. Robbie is, what we've already said, he's not scoring loads of goals for Sunderland. Memphis isn't doing very much in Brazil, so even if he does play, is he going to be top goal scorer in the World Cup? No. And then there's Weghorst, who can't even score in the Eredivisie. So, yeah, I think that it's all positive at the moment, but there's a big question mark on where the goals are going to come from. And with that, it does seem to be like you get to the latter stages, then you come unstuck against one of the bigger nations, and it might have.
And that's what I keep saying. It's going to be that, innit? We might get our way for the group. We should be getting for the group. Like, if not, we don't deserve to be there. And then we may well come unstuck and maybe lose 1-0 to a top side because they've got that nous tactically, like home doesn't quite have, and we don't have the goals to get to extra time to win a match. By the way, here's your horse. The midfield's definitely the rear end, I'll tell you that. Some quality players.
So yeah, like it's I would see us struggling against, like, say, Portugal, for instance. I couldn't see us against that team, or Spain.
Sorry, it's that horse. I gotta get rid of the horse.
So yeah, it's one of these where the manager and the strike force are the biggest problem. Everything else seems okay.
Yeah. Okay, prediction for the Norway game. A friendly, of course, so anything can happen. But what are your thoughts?
2-1 to Netherlands.
Okay. I'm going to go 1-1. That was disappointing. Bit drab. But Norway are without Haaland. They won't be the goal threat that maybe we were expecting, but they can still score from a set piece, and the Netherlands, we'll see, because they have the firepower to win the game. Mike, thanks for the chat about the Netherlands versus Norway game. We'll be back, won't we, for a live stream after the game on Friday night, and again, a live stream after the Ecuador game. Just a little look ahead to our Ecuador game. Do they present an entirely different test? Is it easier? Is it the way they play that might make it more tricky? What do you make of the Ecuador test?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think that they're going to come and they're going to be physical, strong. And if the Netherlands aren't up for it, then I think they have some good players. And I think it will be a tougher game than the Norway one. I think the Netherlands should beat Norway. But for me, out of these two games, I would say the Ecuador one for me is the toughest because of the way they play, physicality of it. They're quick, energetic. I don't think they'll be there to impress, and they'll be there to push. And whether Netherlands are like, oh, this is a friendly, we've got bigger games coming up for our clubs, don't risk anything. I don't think the Ecuador players will play like that. I think they'll be gun ho. And yeah, I think that'll be.
Sorry, I noticed that they had a similar problem to the Netherlands. They don't really have a prolific striker, so there's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah,
when they've got those Premier League players that are strong and good and physical, but then yeah, we'll see how it plays out. All right, good to chat, and just encouraging people again to get involved in YouTube comments. We want to hear from you. Do you have any questions for us? Maybe we can answer them after the game against Norway. And a shout out to with the World Cup coming up really, really soon, that you can get yourself a Football-Oranje scarf to get ready for the tournament. It's been a pleasure actually to have people around the world getting one of these, but lots of them in the US and Canada in the moment, with the tournament, of course, being held over there. So some Football-Oranje scarves will be on show, hopefully, in the games there. People that are living in the region must be getting so excited, by the way. What an opportunity to catch the Netherlands. Just a quick note on that, Mike, given that probably about a good third, coming up to half of our listeners are from that part of the world.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting tournament, to say the least. I think it's going to be. I think the crowds will descend. I think the atmospheres will be great. I don't think there'll be empty stadiums or anything like that. I think that if they sort out the ticket problems, then full stadiums with fans would be good. Obviously, we're not a politics show. We're not going to get involved in that. And obviously, what's going on in America probably isn't great. And I think there'll be probably a lot of protests and stuff like that. But yeah, you just hope that the tournament isn't affected in any way, and like something stupid doesn't happen because somebody doesn't like something and then decides to make it all about him. It's a shame that all the Netherlands games are in America and there's not any in Canada. Whether Netherlands would be welcome in Mexico, given the history of what happened.
The Penal.
So I don't think that would have been very welcome, but there is a chance that the two nations meet again in the knockout stages. So yeah, I think it's going to be a different type of tournament to what we've had in recent years. I think that it's 3 big supportive nations that are going to get behind it. And I just hope the Netherlands turn up and give us something to enjoy throughout it, and don't get put out in the group stage after 2 miserly defeats. But yeah, that's getting too ahead of ourselves and too negative. But yeah, looking forward to staying up till the 1 a.m., 3 a.m. games that are on. And like I know one of Scotland's games against Haiti is at like 1 a.m. in the morning. Anyone staying up to watch that is gonna fair play to you if you got work the next day. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one anyway.
All right, Mike. Thanks for coming on anyway, and we'll talk again in the live stream after the game. We'll probably go on at 10 o'clock UK time. So round up your hour after the game, and we'll be on air around that time. Come and join us live after the game, as always. Okay, that's all from us for now, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.